Welcome to Believe in People Unplugged, created in collaboration with and in support of the Matthew Perry House. Hosted by Amy Goldberg and Caitlin Morrison, this is a space for real conversations with musicians and artists, exploring who they are beyond the work, what fuels their creativity, and why music plays such an important role in their well-being.
Welcome to Believe in People Unplugged, in collaboration with the Matthew Perry House, hosted by me, Amy Goldberg, and Caitlin Morrison. Today's guest is Tara Slone. She is a singer, songwriter, broadcaster, and advocate whose career spans music, media, and storytelling. Known for her authenticity, sharp insight, and fearless honesty, Tara brings heart and lived experience into every space she enters. Whether through music or conversation, she creates meaningful connections that explore resilience. Tara, thank you for being here and welcome to Believe in People Unplugged. So the Unplugged gives you sort of a license to do and say whatever you want.
You can say the swears.
Yes,
I can say the swears? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm 52, so at this point I kind of say whatever I want anyway.
Good for you.
She's 52, going on 36.
Bless you. Yes.
52 going to 36.
Well, in the face, you know.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah, all right.
Tara, first of all, I saw you at the Live Live Loud, I'm getting it now, Live Live Loud with Make Music Matter and the Matthew Perry House. How was that? I thought it was really amazing because it was a compilation of really all these artists gathering and love, like the energy was there. And I was fascinated because we've interviewed a few people from the event, and some knew each other, some didn't, and it just seemed like it was a fluid thing. What was your experience with that?
I thought it was magical. I really did. I thought it was a really special evening. I think it was, the combination of obviously, the heart behind, trying to raise money my dog and cat are going at it. Raising money in the name of Matthew, in the name of, giving people the opportunity to create music in spaces that are war-torn and dangerous, and in order to create safety. So, and I think when you get, especially musicians, musicians are so collaborative by nature. And so there's a lot of love in it. And just the venue was perfect. The sound was perfect. It ended up being just a glorious night. And the level of talent was off the charts. It was really, really beautiful.
Oh, look, you have a cat behind you.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. Oh my God, a black cat. Just the contrast is phenomenal.
I have a dog and a cat here, and they've chosen this particular moment
of course
to start fighting. So
they just want to be seen and heard
and
understood. It's fun.
Exactly. Fun. And Caitlin, had you met Tara before the Live Live Loud?
Well, I met her in the lead up to it, and I got to see her lovely home, and we talked about all of the things that are wrong with the world and why we want to fix them.
Were you there for days? Were you?
So that was fun.
Yeah, no, it was.
I would have stayed for many, many days. It was awesome. Yeah. I love Tara. She's awesome. And her doggy.
Awesome. And my dog. Yes, you met my dog. It's true.
I did.
What kind of dog do you have? We asked Hill the same question.
I love Hilly's dog too. I have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, which sounds very fancy, and he looks kind of fancy, but he's truly the sweetest dog. Except for right now, he's not being very nice to the cat.
Aw. Behave. Tara, I want to ask you, what came first for you? It's like sort of take us back to what inspired you, because you wear so many different hats. What sort of is that one point of entry that sort of jived you into the world of creativity, and where have you kind of landed, if you have?
I don't think I've landed. I mean, I think I'm hovering over lots of spaces, but music was always, to me, music is my first love. And I had a revelation while watching a show a few weeks ago that I feel like music is all, music and love and art. It's why humans should not be extinct. Otherwise, I think we should be like, we have no right being on this planet right now, except that, without humanity, we wouldn't have these beautiful art forms. So as a kid, I was really drawn to classical music, and I sang opera, and
Oh, wow.
that was my entry point. I actually started in university in opera performance, and then I botched it. I just botched it. I totally fucked it up. But music was just always a passion for me, and so it was my first career, real adult career, was in a rock band called Joy Drop. And I did that for a long time and did music. And then TV kind of came to me. But I'll never leave music behind. I'm always still dabbling and writing. And, it's kind of nice not to try to make a living that way because it's difficult.
Yeah.
So just to do it purely for the love of music is great.
But
Well,
no, I'm
that
not going to
same
do it
black
anymore.
cat came into your screen, Caitlin.
It's a different black cat.
Wow, that was bizarre.
I saw that too, and I was like, "Is that my reflection?" Wait a minute. I
Exactly.
know it's kind of funny.
I've
That was
got
funny.
two black cats, by the way. I have my original black cat Sappho, and then a mommy cat gave birth in our barn and abandoned one of her cats who happened to be a black cat. And we, took care of it. So now I have two.
Wow.
Double witch.
Did they
That's
get
me.
along?
Double witch. They get along very well. They're adorable together.
Oh, good. Oh,
Anyway,
Tara, I want to ask you, what about so how did TV come into play for you?
It's kind of strange. I In 2005 I did a reality show called Rockstar NXS. So we just celebrated our 20th anniversary last year, which is really
Wow, that's
mind-blowing.
unbelievable.
And it was a singing competition show where we were vying to be the next lead singer of the rock band In Excess. I clearly did not win. And there were four Canadians on the show. It was a really big show in Canada, even though it was shot in LA. And I had um, the interesting fortune of being the first Canadian eliminated. So by virtue of that, I started getting all these requests from local media outlets to kind of weigh in weekly on the show. And it kind of opened the door. I started doing TV segments on entertainment shows. I covered the following year's auditions for the same show. And eventually, when I was starting to just contemplate moving into something different or something a little bit more secure, I had enough to put a little demo reel together. And I did. And it was 2007 when I made the leap, and I got a job at a small station in Toronto, and I really learned on the job. I mean, I credit my boss Paul Schmidt, who saw something in me, even though I knew nothing about television. I didn't know how to read a teleprompter. I didn't know how to produce or edit, and I learned that stuff. I learned that stuff all on the fly, and that was almost 20 years ago
Wow.
now.
I remember that show, and
Me
it was
too.
not 20 years ago. It was not 20 years ago. I
Sorry,
refuse
Caitlin.
to believe that.
It is wild, and it did. You know what? We had a reunion. We had a couple of reunion shows in November, and it didn't feel like 20 years had passed, and it didn't sound like 20 years had passed. Everybody's still so talented, but when we were looking at clips from the actual show, I mean, I looked more like my daughter than I do like myself at that time.
Was that a favorite time for you?
It was actually really hard. I mean, I think all of us came out of there with some level of, um, I don't know, psychological damage, and I actually I say that like not to make light, like they put you in this pressure cooker experience on purpose, right? Like
Yeah.
reality TV is designed
Yes.
to stress the contestants out as much as possible in order to elicit whatever response. So Um, it was really hard, and I was not particularly a favorite. I got a lot of bad feedback. I was in the bottom three a lot. So I don't think I came out of there feeling particularly grateful. It didn't really do anything, excuse me, for my music career. So it represented a time in my life where I was really waffling and really just trying to figure out. I felt very much in a gray area. Um, but in retrospect, I look at it as a real turning point. But I never,
Yeah.
w- I didn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And then the hockey thing, how did that come around?
Hockey, I've always been a big fan. I never played. I mean, in my elementary school years, which is when most kids would start, I lived in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. I did not know a single girl who had hockey skates or played. Not that, I mean, there probably were a few, but we all wore figure skates. Like it just was not a thing. Um, and certainly I wasn't watching, the Olympics and seeing it wasn't out there in popular culture. But I loved hockey. It was a way that my father and I really bonded over the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday nights. And I always kept that love. And so when I got into broadcasting, I started really gravitating towards sports and really tried to, excuse me, steer myself towards hockey specifically. And yeah, there's just, a few sort of connections and sort of lucky moments along the way or whatever fortunate moments along the way where I met the right person and these connections started to happen and then it was 2014 when they announced that this show Rogers Hometown Hockey was going to hit the road and that Ron McLean was going to be hosting it and I wrote a letter to the boss to the president of Sportsnet at the time and I just said I think like this is the show for me.
Wow.
I am right for this show. And so I ended up on that show.
And how do you feel being on that show? I mean, it's sort of tends to be more obviously male dominated. Like, how do you feel when, or what do you do when things get heavy?
Well, I mean, Hometown Hockey was a bit of an outlier. A show like that had never existed in Canada. We crossed the country and we were really in the community in a very different way than just your more typical studio show. But for sure, I mean, hockey is a very male dominated world. Um, I, I mean, I still work in hockey and I feel the landscape has changed a lot, but you still get talked over. You still encounter microaggressions or macroaggressions. At the very beginning,
Yeah.
I mean, there's always the trolls and there are always the people who just hate you because you're a woman, truly, and underestimate you. So you just have to kind of look past that. But I think Hometown Hockey was a really unique blend of storytelling and hockey. So, I wasn't there pretending to be an analyst. We were talking to people in the community about really touching, beautiful stories, and hockey just happened to be the through line. So that show was a real privilege for all of us.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then music is kind of like not all the way, but it's got a guy dominant, you
Yeah.
makeup in terms of production and things like that. Do
Rock
you
music, yeah, especially.
do you feel like your career has kind of set you up for that really obnoxious thing of like, oh, you're so
Yeah.
good job, the woman.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I've quite gotten to the bottom of how I ended up putting myself into these really male dominated areas. Rock music is still, I mean, I still, if I turn on, a classic rock station, it's like 20 songs will pass. And then finally you'll hear a song by heart. And then, and then another 30 songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, when my band Joy Drop was out touring in the US and Canada, it was very much, you hear Sarah McLachlan talk about this, or you try to get a song on the radio and they'd be like, "We're already playing one woman. We're not going to add another to the playlist." Like that was
Yeah.
real. That was really happening. Um, so I don't know why I have found myself there because I have always been this sort of I was a mini raging feminist when I was a kid. Like I always have felt injustice so deeply and viscerally. So maybe somehow it's just my sort of karmic lot in life to just go wade in, head first and just kind of wave the flag. I don't know what it is, but
Actually, that's a great way to navigate. I mean, if you want to speak, kind of speak your truth through that, that is a really great way. You're kind of blazing that experience so that others can feel more comfortable going into those fields, you
It
know?
is definitely not the path of least resistance, that's for
No.
sure.
No.
And
But
Tara,
so
what were you like as a kid? Like, did you always want to do this?
I mean, classical music was my jam, but I worked at a record store. I worked at Sam the Record Man all through high school. So I was very drawn to rock music. I was a total grunge kid. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it may seem on paper like my career has been a bunch of different, like all these differing kind of tentacles, but they all very much come together. There's nothing, being on TV's performance too, and all of the time that I spent on stage as a musician all plays into that, and the way I use my voice and all, and the way you interact with people in an audience. So, I mean, I guess, I've always been a performer. So,
Yeah.
yes, I guess I always wanted to do that.
And you're good at it. So, there's that.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks. I
Truth.
tried.
Just throwing truth around.
Thank you.
Amy, to ask your question that's burning in
Did
your
you
brain.
play an instrument when you were growing up? Like in your band, did you play an instrument?
I mean, I plunk away at my guitar, but no, I didn't. I never played live. I kind of, if I'm writing, I'll play around, but
Do you enjoy writing your songs?
I find writing really rewarding and extremely frustrating. And I think I have let the frustration get in the way. I think the people who are the best writers write a lot. And I think what gets in my head is this isn't good, therefore I'm not going to finish it. But I think
Uh,
that there's so much benefit in just doing it. So, do I enjoy it when I do it? Yes, I do. But I have a lot of resistance to it also.
it's interesting you say that because I'm hearing, especially when we had a conversation with Hill, it's this reservation that we're not good enough. This reservation that um, we're just we were just talking about imposter syndrome in the last episode, and it's just what is that? Why us? Like why women in particular? I'm
Um,
fascinated by that.
the patriarchy. I mean, like it sounds so simplistic, but it's so true. It just has seeped to everything we do. It's so systemic, and we have to now work so hard to shed that. And it's yeah, I think it's like it's what do they call it? Epigenetics. Like it's in our
Yeah,
DNA.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
not just a matter of psychology and sociology. It's like we also are, it's in our bodies, it's in our brains. So it has to be this really active exercise.
That's a good point.
Yeah. There's a well documented uh information about people going after promotions at work. And the tendency is for women to say, well, I'm not quite ready for this move yet. So I'm going to build up a little bit more credential and a little bit more. And guys will just go, oh, I'm 17 steps behind where I should be to apply for this, but I'm going to just apply for it.
Right.
And it's that same kind of, the second guessing that that we do perpetuates a
Yeah,
lot. But I mean, and then there's the notion of, you have to like prove yourself even more to get the same amount of credit.
Yeah.
But you're right, patriarchy.
yeah.
F
And
them. Maybe we should just get rid of men.
Pretty much. Just listen, let's just put a bunch of sperm in a freezer. 'Cause, I mean, we
exactly.
do just need that. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Tara, what were you like as a kid? And what were your parents like?
I don't, it's funny. My best friend was visiting, and we've known each other since we were 13 or so. And I was trying to remember what I was like as a kid. And
Ah,
part of me feels kind of disconnected from that person, but I think I'm the same. Um, I mean, I straddled a lot of worlds, which is something I do now. I always I had a lot of different friend groups and interests. Um, I loved music. I had an addictive personality, so I started smoking when I was really young. And I think I was always, I was always outspoken, always spoke my mind, and have, been navigating that in different ways my whole life. Um, my parents are both still alive. They're not together. My dad is a lawyer, a really wonderful. He's the right kind of lawyer. He's like a labor arbitrator on the human rights
I like to hear that there's the
advocate.
right kind of lawyer.
I mean, I know they just, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot. There are, of course, wonderful lawyers, but he's a human rights advocate.
Ah,
So he lives in Halifax, and my mom lives in France.
France.
Oh,
Yes.
What's she doing in France?
She's been there for 25 years. When my stepfather retired, they went to France. So
Oh,
yeah, so I don't see her enough. But um, yeah, my dad is more like a more reserved person, but really, I think that the sort of fairness gene I get from him, and my mom's a little more outrageous, and the outrageous gene I get from her.
well, she's in France after
And
all.
I mean,
she is,
oh,
yes,
really?
having happy hour with her dog at the table.
Oh,
Ah,
that's so great. Tara, do you speak French? Did you learn French growing up?
I did, but I mean, it sort of, I think it's left me. It kind of comes back when I need it, but no, I was proficient enough that when I went to school in Montreal and I could work in a bar.
Ah,
I could kind of get
mhm.
by. But I mean, you don't use it, you lose it. So
yeah.
So true.
It's Caitlin's fluent.
Well, I think that I am, but then when I speak French to French people, they speak English back to me. So I'm not as good
oh,
as I think I
See,
am.
that's very funny.
I hate that.
That's
I
very
hate that.
Oh, and Tara, what are you doing right now? What kind of work are you doing? I mean, I know what kind of work, but just for our viewers and
Yeah.
listeners.
I have a few different jobs. My sort of two primary jobs are I work for the San Jose Sharks. So I did spend some time in California. While I was there, I connected with that team, and I kept the job even when I moved back here to Toronto. So I work for the team itself, doing some content podcast, and I work for NBC Sports. So I do rinkside reporting for the team down there. So it's a long commute, but as I look outside and there's 8 feet of snow, I feel lucky to have the opportunity to go there about once a month. I also work for Sirius XM, so I have a couple of
Ah,
radio shows. One is a women's focused show, and the other one is a sort of fun pop culture panel show. I started working on some curling broadcasts this year, which has been really fun. And then I do a lot of, hosting and facilitating and little this and that's and working with some charities and it's sort of there's something fun about having a million jobs. There's also something a little groundless about having a million jobs, but it's not boring.
which is your favorite aspect for your work?
I mean, it's communication, people,
Communication.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I mean, I just think people, right? Like
Yeah.
creating a warm, comfortable situation where people feel comfortable talking to
Yeah.
me. In hockey, in hockey, it's really fun to be part of a team. Um, it's really fun to, find stories to tell that I think elevate the game of hockey, because that's always been, something I try to add.
Mhm.
So, but
And do
yeah,
you find balance? Like, do you not balance, but do you prioritize things that are important to you, like your health or emotional well-being, or I mean, because we can. Oh, there's no such thing as balance, by the way. When they
no,
say, yeah, there's no such with the work-life balance. No, it's about priorities, really. Where do you land on that?
I land in that I'm trying.
Trying.
I'm acutely aware of the necessity more and more as I get older. Um, and as I've quite frankly get less able to cope, like less able to, um, I get more overloaded much more easily. So I have a daily meditation practice, or almost daily. Um, but I struggle with boundaries. I struggle with saying yes too much, maybe. Um, and I also struggle, and I think this is a very, again, a very skewed gender thing is, um, I feel guilty when I say no or I need to make an adjustment for my mental health. And that's like an ongoing practice for me of like, okay, stop apologizing.
Yeah.
Like you need to move this thing because it's not good for you to do it right now. So that's a really interesting process for me.
I know it is so
Mhm.
true because it's like a fine line between if you keep saying yes, people are still going to ask you, they're going to ask you more because they know you're going to say yes. But when you do find those boundaries and say no, you may obviously feel badly about that. And yet you've set that term. So people won't come to you as often. But then, you
It's
know,
always that's the fear, you know. I feel like I
Yeah.
lived a lot of my early career in fear, which I have empathy for that part of myself, right? You're worried the next job or the next gig isn't going to
right,
come,
right.
but at what expense?
Yeah. And you want to feel like you're prioritizing people.
Yeah.
And so, you don't want to say no to somebody and make them feel like for some reason they weren't your priority.
Hmm.
And then you also, it's like the number of times you're actually going to be asked seem finite. So why would you say no when you do? But
Right.
this is three women talking right now, all of whom probably say yes too much and all of whom have too many jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not the case for everybody. And if so, maybe you should join us and tell us how to fix that.
I know it's so true though. But then again, I grapple with the fact that people want you to so in order to identify with somebody else, I feel that you have to land on that one thing. But I'm for me personally, I've never done one thing in my entire life. It's always been a handful of things. And
Hmm.
there's a stream. So for Tara, it's communication. So and that can mean so many things. Or let's say you're an actor. So an actor can say, I'm a writer, producer, director, and so people can wrap their head around it. But I find that when you can't identify or you're in different streams, it's either pick a lane
Right.
and why, you know,
No, it's
Hmm.
no, it's
it's for somebody else to identify who you are. That I don't get that.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm fine with this. I think yeah, the stability has to come from myself, not so much,
That's a great.
what
Hmm.
I'm doing. And,
Yeah.
I feel so much gratitude for just, I don't ever want it to come like, oy vey, I'm so overworked. Like I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. There's so much hardship in the world. I feel extremely, extremely fortunate and grateful. But yeah, I could be my own worst enemy.
Hmm.
I know we
Hmm.
all can be. And then I know we have to bounce, but I just want to ask you, is the band getting back together?
So we have we have always kept communication. Three out of the four of us are still very close, and we keep threatening to put out new music. We have done some writing. And then people are just so busy, time just gets away from us. But we are actually on a text thread right now, planning to, I believe, get together next week. So
Wow,
we are all
There you go.
acutely aware that, the time just passes so quickly. And if we
it
don't do
does.
it, it might never happen. So we're going to, yes. So I wouldn't look for any live shows coming up with Joy Drop, but maybe a song or two.
That would be awesome. Well, we'll
Yeah,
listen.
Well,
I'd love
well,
that.
there are two definite yes votes in
100%.
case anyone's asking when you hang out next week.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And maybe there's like a Live Live Loud version 2. That's a great platform. I'm just saying.
Well, it's a great
Um,
show. It was a great
well,
show.
That
maybe,
was a great
maybe,
show.
maybe like in September or something. I don't know, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can
That's the
only
fifth
imagine.
job that Caitlin
Yeah,
has.
no kidding.
I will tell you,
I got to
I will
sail
tell you
in.
this thing about the show. leading up to it, and because it is a lot of work, leading up to it, I got to like the day of, and I just very to anyone who would listen to me, I said, I'm never, 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 never doing this ever, ever again. And but then it was so magical and beautiful that afterwards I changed that to I'm never doing this again unless someone else does all the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
That's fair.
feels like a better.
Yeah. It's true that, well, that's, I mean, I've never had children, but I think that that sounds like pregnancy. Don't people say, I'm never, 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 ever, ever going to have another child?
And then immediately forget the pain and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Although it is hard to delegate pregnancy.
Yeah. You can't delegate. Oh,
It
no,
is,
actually.
I
yeah.
mean, you can.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's right.
can.
You
Most
can.
people
You can
don't.
delegate pregnancy. I didn't
Mhm.
even, I forgot about that.
Most
Fascinating.
people don't, though.
I've always been amazed that there are people who are willing to have pregnancy delegated to them,
Mm.
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
that is a
I
that
mean,
is like
that
an
whole emotional
amazing
piece
choice.
where
Yeah.
you have to grapple with, you don't know if you want to for sure keep it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as a surrogate, you would,
Yeah, it'd be
that would be,
really.
that's a
Yeah.
conundrum. Like, whew.
Yeah.
On that note,
Well, right?
I know. Sorry, I took it somewhere weird.
no, that's
No, it's a good place. It's a good
Well, we
place.
hope
Now
you
we're just
play.
all
We
in our
hope
head.
you get the band back. Tell them, please, that we want to hear you. And thank you so much for being on Believe in People Unplugged.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking me. Really.
Oh,
And thank you for
absolute
being
pleasure.
wonderful and amazing and lovely and all the
No,
things that
thank
you are.
both of you for being incredible. Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.